Good afternoon. Today what we are going to do is show how measurements are being taken with the MouseOX Plus on a neonatal mouse. This little guy that I'm working with is about an hour old. He's wiggling quite a bit, so the signal will go in and out as he moves, but it should lock back in. What we are doing today is we are using pulse oximetry. So we're taking a red and infrared light and we're passing it through the arterial blood of the neonate. I am using a thigh sensor, and I don't want to take it off for the sake of interfering with my signal, because these guys can be a little tricky. It does take some trial and error to get a good measurement, but you will. This is the thigh sensor that I am using. A little bit has a curvature, and I am placing it over the back leg, the back end of the neonate. Now we're starting to get a very nice signal. So these are the parameters that I am getting on my neonate that I am obtaining. We have our breath rate, oxygen saturation, heart rate, breath distension, and pulse distension. This is our Pulse Plus window. You can see that I'm getting a nice signal. The lines do not have to match, but they do have to be in sync with each other. Now our signal went out a little bit only because my neonate is excessively moving. I do not have him anesthetized. He is conscious. He's very small. As I said, he is an hour old. So it can be challenging because you do want to make sure that there is a proper amount of blood at the sensor site. A couple things to show you, like right now our pulse distension. This is a good indicator of how much blood we have available at the sensor site. This is 44. It's in double digits. This is not bad. You want to see this number in at least 20 or above. The larger this number grows, the more blood would be available. So we'll just give it a moment, try to let it capture a better signal. But our heart rate is about right on. These are real-time measurements. There's all of our parameters right now. They came in. Oxygen saturation is a little low, but this guy, like I said, is an hour old. So the measurements are, they're going to vary. But he is a healthy neonatal mouse. Now, with the system, just to show you a few things, what I'm showing you the system on is premium recording. We do have some nice functionality to the system. There's a recording feature, so you could actually record your data and save it to a file, which you can go back later and analyze. I'm just going to let this run a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and minimize the mouse so you can just see the software. As you can see, he's very tiny. We're just going to put him in the corner over here. Now, results on neonates are going to vary. The sensors that I do recommend, it does take trial and error. And when you're working with one as young as this, it is going to take a little bit of time to get the spot placed in an area where you're going to achieve enough blood. But just to show you a couple different sensor options you can use with neonates. You can use, I like the thigh because it tends to sort of stabilize the animal if you do not want to anesthetize the animal. You can also use a small collar. With the small collar, I generally put it over the head area of the neonate. Another one that I like to use is the extra small throat sensor. Which is right here. This is the extra small throat. And I like this one because it actually has the lightest spring of all, but they're all very light springs. It's not a lot of tension to the animal. It should not harm the animal. This one I like to take and place it over the back end as well, over the femoral arteries. But today I've tried a variety, and we're having the best luck with the thigh sensor, and I believe it's because he is so tiny. When they're this tiny, it's difficult to find a sensor that he doesn't wiggle out of. You know, after viewing this recording, if you have any additional questions about obtaining measurements on neonates, please feel free to contact myself, Kim Perlin, or Ashley Warhite. She is our other sales representative. Either of us are happy to assist you. I do have many customers that use the system on neonates, and depending on how tiny the neonate is, that could be part of the challenges to getting good measurements. But it does work on neonates. You will be able to get measurements once you get the sensor placed in the right spot. Right now I have a very nice signal. That's because he stopped wiggling. I think he just got exhausted and gave in a little bit. But you can see all my parameters are coming in. Now, I didn't get a chance to really talk about anything else about the system because I wanted to hurry up and show the measurements of this little guy because he is so tiny. I do want to get him back to his mother. But I'm going to show you, this is the MouseOX hardware, and I'm just going to take my camera and pan that portion for you. This is the MouseOX box. It hooks into a regular computer by a USB cable, and you could run this on any system that has a Windows 7 or greater operating system. I could also, if you have questions about computer requirements, we are more than happy to send that information to you. But this is my standard lab setup. If I was using anesthesia, I would be using my gas blender, and I would be delivering ISO to my subject. But in this case, because it's such a tiny little animal and he's very weak, he doesn't really move very much. I'm going to try to get a little better look at him so you can see how I have the sensor. Sorry if I'm making you a little dizzy right now. That's our little guy. So you can see he's wiggling quite a bit. And that's going to impact our signal. Now once he calms down, you'll get a much better signal. But we are getting measurements. They're real-time measurements. Even if the numbers are grayed out, we are still achieving measurements on our neonatal mouse. So I think it's pretty amazing. You can see the penny, that's how tiny he is. He's smaller than a penny, very young. Well, I think that concludes our portion of obtaining measurements on a neonate. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to contact myself or my colleague, Ashley Warhite, and we are happy to assist you with further information about obtaining measurements on neonates. Thank you for viewing the video, and have a wonderful day.